You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a man from Grove succumbs to his injuries he sustained from a motorcycle crash.
And a man from Columbus leads police on a chase that ends in Crestline, Kansas.
And we've been dealing with patchy, dense fog across the area this morning. That will eventually burn off. We'll tell you how today is shaping up and when our next round of rain moves in coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A Grove, Oklahoma man succumbs to injuries sustained from a motorcycle crash in Joplin. The crash occurred in the 6300 block of Spurgeon Road, about 5 miles south of Joplin. Authorities say last Wednesday, James Frazier was operating a Harley-Davidson motorcycle when a passenger car turned in front of him and caused the now fatal collision. Witnesses say EMS performed CPR on Frazier in the road. Frazier was not conscious when he was rushed Trauma 1 to Freeman West in Joplin. Columbus man wanted by police is arrested after a chase with police crossing state lines. The chase began in Joplin when police noticed a pickup truck believed to be driven by a suspect out of Cherokee County, Kansas. Now that chase ended up leaving Joplin and going through Jasper County before ending near Crestline, Kansas, right by the Missouri border. And that's where authorities arrested Stephen Tyner of Columbus, who was wanted in Cherokee County for rape, attempted murder, and kidnapping in the stabbing of a woman in Galena back in December. Now, a judge has sentenced one of 2 suspects in connection with a Newton County murder case. Eddie Fisher is sentenced to 4 years in prison for abandonment of a corpse and 7 years in prison for receiving stolen property. Those sentences will run concurrent, so he will serve 7 years. Stems from the April 2022 murder of Scotty Roller. Authorities say Fisher's son Damian Fisher shot and killed Roller after an argument over the purchase of a vehicle. They say Eddie Fisher then helped Damian wrap Roller's body in a rug and dump the body down a well on Eddie's property near Seneca. Damian Fisher is charged in the case with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. It's the first anniversary of the murder of Kenneth J. Matthews in Joplin. According to the Joplin Police Department, Matthews was walking with a friend around 6 p.m. on South Conner Avenue. Matthews was shot multiple times and was pronounced dead at the scene. The shooter fled in a dark-colored vehicle. A year later, JPD is still looking for the shooter.
We don't believe it was a random act. We absolutely believe this was targeted towards them specifically. Which individual, we're not sure, but we know that there was some involvement prior to this event with each other.
If you have any information, please contact the Joplin Police Department. Missouri officials terminated the Republican Attorney General's emergency rule that would have placed limits on transgender care for minors and some adults. The move was announced on Tuesday without explanation on the Missouri Secretary of State's website. The rule would have required adults and children to undergo more than a year of therapy and fulfill other requirements before they could receive gender-affirming treatments such as puberty blockers, hormones, and surgery.
Well, we've been dealing with dense fog here and there throughout the morning. Still got it pretty dense in Bourbon County and parts of Vernon County. 0.6 of a mile visibility in Fort Scott. Starting to clear up again across Jasper and parts of Newton and Barton counties. Visibility is improving, and it's going to kind of be that way for the next hour or so until we finally get all of this out of here. MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline looking to the north. You can see some of that fog out there. No fog on the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. Just plain old cloudy skies out there. And our camera at 7th and Rangeline has been showing some of that fog off in the distance. We're sitting at 60 degrees in Joplin. It is calm in terms of the winds and still cool across the area, but progressively warming up. We're at 54 in Iola, 53 in Fort Scott, got 59 Pittsburgh, Lamar, 60 Carthage, 62 Parsons, Chatopa, and 63 in Miami. And as we get our morning started, again, we got that patchy fog to contend with and those mostly cloudy skies. That'll all start to progressively clear out, and we'll transition to partly cloudy skies by late morning. Temperatures beginning to push the mid-60s, and as we head into the afternoon, partly cloudy skies. A stray shower here or there is possible, but I think most of us are going to remain dry. Again, partly cloudy and warmer, temperatures pushing into the mid-70s. Tanya?
Thanks, Chris. The Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri in Joplin will receive thousands of dollars in tax credits through a state program. KOAM's Yana Dula talked with club officials about the importance of the credits and heard from some of the kids impacted.
The State of Missouri's Youth Opportunities Program awarded the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri $200,000 in tax credits.
It also gives a donor an opportunity to give a little more, because it all depends. I'm not an accountant, but it kind of depends what your tax bracket is. But say you give $1,000, it may only cost you $500.
Rhonda Gorham, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri, says this is an opportunity to give back to donors. When they write a check, they can be written a 50% tax credit. The club provides different activities for 6 to 18-year-olds and needs a lot of staff.
The funds go for just our programming. It can go summer or after school program. It helps us pay for staff. A lot of grants will not necessarily pay for staffing, and we employ 80 staff. So, it takes a lot of money to cover that.
The programs occupy a lot of young students' afternoons.
If I was home, it would be more boring because there's no one to really communicate with.
And bring students from different schools together.
We went to small gym and we figured out that we both like sports and we started becoming friends.
Gorham says the $200,000 tax credits are spread over 2 years.
Once it's gone, it's gone. So we encourage people that if they want to make a donation and help us out right now, we just turn around, give them their paperwork back, and they can get it on their taxes this year.
In Joplin, Yana Dula, KOAM News.
The state's Youth Opportunities Program has up to $6 million in tax credits to award annually. Up next, Tim Dossie and Dale Hellwig step into the studio to tell us all about how farmers and ranchers can connect with scientists.
And as we've mentioned, we're still dealing with some patchy fog out there, but we have a fairly decent Wednesday ahead of us. We're going to talk about that forecast a little later. But first, here's another live look from Cunningham Park in Joplin. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Joining us in the studio this morning is Tim Dossie and Dale Hellwig, and they're here to tell us all about an upcoming event known as Farmers Accelerating Research in Materials Science, or FARMS. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Good to have you here.
Great, thank you. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, not a problem. So I know we've got the Four-State Farm Show coming up, and you all are going to be a part of that. So tell me a little bit about the program and what exactly you're going to be doing.
Well, Tim Dossie approached us several years ago, and we're looking at problems and struggles that producers have, farmers and ranchers have in the ag industry. And Tim looked around and said, is there anything that we can do in polymer science to help fix those struggles? So that's kind of where this program began.
And in terms of trying to find solutions, what have you all been able to come up with? What are you looking at specifically to help farmers out?
Well, we're looking at a broad range of things, and the main thing here is that we just want to hear all of the problems. And it's not just, hey, they can't do this, they can't do. Just tell us everything, and then we'll filter through that. So right now we're looking at recycling efforts. So that one of the big issues that's come up is all the plastic and whatever that's left over behind the barn or behind the shed, as we refer to it on here. So you're either landfilling or burning. Well, the farmers don't want to do that. So we're pursuing activities around those types of things. We're looking at water conservation. We're looking at some other things. So this is really a listening session that we're having at the Four-State Farm Show that's coming up this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be there at 11 o'clock on Friday, 11 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday. 1 hour is all we're asking for the farmers to come in and just share with us the issues that they're seeing out there. And when we say farmers, we're talking producers, the ranchers, the dairy folks, whatever on that. So.
And how important is it to be able to put something like this together and be out there at the farm show for them to come up to you with these issues that they may be facing?
Well, this is a great opportunity. We've done it a couple years in the past, and we've had kind of conferences where we brought the farmers in, but it's hard for them to take a full day away and just talk to scientists. So we're glad to be able to be part of the farm show this year, where the farmers and ranchers are already going to be there anyway. It's just going to be an hour at a time, and we have a little bit of fun with it while we're there, just because farmers like to gripe about stuff. We're really good at griping about things, and so this is just a time to tell them about their struggles and the things that they have for just an hour. Sit down, talk with us for an hour, and then go back and walk around this farm show.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, instead of them having to take time out of their day for a conference, you're kind of bringing a condensed version of the conference to them.
Exactly, and it's a matter, they're there anyway, they're looking at all the new toys and whatever out there, and as we've done it in the past, and we've had to bring folks together, and we spent a whole day. I had some great barbecue that way.
Yeah.
But this time we're just condensing it down, saying, listen, just if you could give us 1 hour, come in and just spend an hour with us and share with us. We're going to have the scientists there. The extension agents, Dale from K-State, are helping us out on this, helping us to interpret. Most of us scientists are not farmers, so we're needing an interpretation around what are they saying on here, what is the implication of that. So we're just asking the farmers to just come give us an hour.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We really appreciate it. And we've got the information on the screen there, and we will also have it on our website later this morning at KOAMnewsnow.com, just in case you missed any of it. Again, thanks for coming in. Hopefully you can find some great solutions for these folks out there.
Thanks much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you
very much.
Yep.
We will be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Time for another quick check of your forecast. And as we look around, still dealing with that patchy, dense fog, and it's been in roughly the same areas all morning long. It kind of clears up a bit and then it thickens back up. So we're back down to 0.6 of a mile visibility in Fort Scott. You can see a huge chunk of Bourbon County and into western Vernon County dealing with some dense fog. And then you head south on I-49 and between Carthage and Joplin, we've got some patchy dense fog as well over a good portion of Jasper County. And these two areas have kind of alternated in a sense back and forth, where sometimes the Fort Scott area clears up, but then the fog gets denser down here between Carthage and Joplin. So if you're traveling this morning, just bear in mind that you may run into some patchy dense fog from along I-49, along 69, and along 54. And remember, the fog tracker can't see everything. There may be some patchy dense fog in areas that it can't detect. So do be careful out there. Quick look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Looking back to the north, we've seen that fog kind of roll in and ease back and roll in and ease back. Haven't seen really any fog on the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. And otherwise pretty decent, just cloudy out there, and cloudy is the theme. We are sitting at 60 degrees in Joplin, and you can see, actually, let me switch to this side just real quick. So you can see that fog out there off in the distance. We're at 60 again in Joplin, cloudy skies, calm breeze. Quick look at temperatures around the area, 53 Fort Scott, 62 Chetopa, and 63 in Miami. We're going to take another in-depth look at your forecast here in just a minute, but first, here's a live look from Cunningham Park in Joplin. Welcome back again to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. So we're going to take another in-depth look at your forecast. And right before we came back, fog tracker updated again. So we've got reduced visibilities in Iola, starting to improve in Fort Scott, Carthage, and Joplin. But still some fog to deal with out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline showing some haze off in the distance. Looking pretty good from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. And our camera at 7th and Rangeline, you can see that fog off in the distance there on this camera as well. Cloudy skies, 60 degrees in Joplin, calm breeze. Better look at temperatures around the area. 57 in Nevada, 54 Fort Scott, 62 62 Chitopa, 63 Miami, and 61 Neosho and Carthage. Temperatures will continue to warm as we go through the day. It's going to be a pretty decent one out there. We'll get rid of this patchy fog in the next hour or two, and then we'll start to see the clouds break up a bit as well. We'll go partly cloudy and into the mid-60s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, again, warmer than where we were yesterday. We're talking mid-70s, partly cloudy skies. A stray shower or two is possible across the area this afternoon, but most areas are going to remain dry, and any showers that do pop up should be relatively short-lived. Partly cloudy skies heading into the evening, even some mostly clear skies here and there overnight, and another chilly one as we drop back to lows right in the upper 50s. And as we look ahead, tomorrow, closer to 80, we'll spend the majority of the day partly cloudy. Then could see a few evening showers out there. And then our better storm chances come in Friday from roughly sunrise through the early overnight hours. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Good news is at this point, we're not anticipating anything strong or severe, just some more much needed rain. And a little bit cooler, 70. A little bit cooler on Saturday as well, 70. Partly cloudy, 75 Sunday, mostly sunny skies. Beautiful weekend to catch up on whatever it is you need to do outside that maybe you haven't been able to take care of. You'll be able to take care of it this weekend. Then we head into the rest of the work week. Temperatures on the rise, which is nice. It's good to be back to those warm levels again. So we head back low mid 80s, but we also see increasing thunderstorm chances every day next week. So more much needed rain on the way for the 4 states, and we get that on either side of an absolutely beautiful weekend. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Theater. The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:25. This is Infrastructure Week, and to celebrate, Missouri American Water is highlighting its investments planned this year. The company will invest a total of $425 million into water and wastewater system upgrades. Most of that will come in the form of replacing 43,000 feet of water pipe in Joplin. Officials say replacing aging pipes improves system reliability and improves fire protection.
We're actually replacing old water main, and we're upsizing, which means better flow and better fire protection. And in this case, we're actually looping it into some other water mains, so water quality will improve as well.
You can view all of the Missouri American Water's planned pipe replacement projects on their website. Joplin Elementary School is celebrating the completion of a new walking and running track for their playground. On Tuesday, McKinley Elementary officials in Joplin held a ribbon cutting to unveil the new track. The 200-meter-long, 6-foot-wide track was made from 100% recycled materials. Officials say it'll give students another way to stay active during recess and PE classes.
Material is great for our students. It is a soft material, so if a kid was to trip and fall, they're going to bounce right back up. It actually allows our kids who say, hey, I can run fast, on this track, they can run very fast.
I would find the playground more interesting because we have a place to exercise.
The track was paid for with a $45,000 grant from Missouri Playground Scrap Tire Material and $11,000 in local donations. Another Southwest Missouri elementary school also got a grant. This one will go to improve the book selection at the school's library. The Laura Bush Foundation for America's Libraries gave a grant of $5,000 to Knoll Primary School. School's librarian says the grant will allow them to diversify the library's shelves.
With our provided budget, it's difficult to provide for, the 270 students we already have, in addition to the 60 pre-K students we have as well. And so grants like this that allow me to have additional funding to continue those services.
The Laura Bush Foundation handed out $5,000 grants to 300 schools across 44 states. Miami, Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce is trying to empower female entrepreneurs. The chamber hosted a Women in Business Connection luncheon featuring a presentation titled Closing the Generation Gap. It was a chance for female business leaders to network and to find common ground among entrepreneurs of varying ages.
Understanding, talking about the generations and the different preferences that people have. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is just getting to understand them better and starting to flex a little bit. It's almost like speaking each other's language.
The luncheon was hosted at the Miami Regional Chamber office.
Well, we're still dealing with some patchy fog out there across southwest Missouri and parts of southeast Kansas. That will begin to burn off as our morning progresses, and then we'll have those mostly cloudy skies, but even that will start to break up a bit, and we'll transition to partly cloudy skies by late morning. Temperatures not too bad, mid-60s, and our highs today even better as we go into the mid-70s through the afternoon. An isolated shower or two is possible across the area as we head through today. I think the majority of us will stay dry, and those showers will be short-lived if we see any, but it is a possibility. We'll have partly cloudy skies otherwise, and we'll hold on to partly cloudy to mostly clear skies heading through the evening and into the overnight hours. It's still another chilly one for us as we drop back into the upper 50s. And as we take a look down the road, we're closer to 80 tomorrow, partly cloudy, and we see an evening shower or two possible ahead of thunderstorms throughout the majority of our Friday, and we're going to have a cooler temperature, 70 again on Saturday, but a beautiful weekend shaping up for us. Sunny on Sunday in the mid-70s. Temperatures next week warm into the low to mid-80s, and then we see much more needed rain chances building in the form of thunderstorm chances every day next week. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Two Good Samaritans who had to be rescued from flash flooding in the Ozarks over the weekend are sharing their story. Michael Hoffman reports from eastern Douglas County.
Well, Judy and Keith were sleeping in their bed about 100 yards that way when they started to hear cries for help. So they got in the four-wheeler, came down here to this opening to look, and that's when they slipped and fell in themselves.
My wife had called 911. We were both knew that we had to continue to look. We could not ignore the people that were continually crying, screaming for help.
Keith and Judy Denninger braved the storm and the high rushing water. Their search brought them here, where they thought the two stranded people were. But that's when Judy fell in.
This mud here is as slick as ice. She just slid all the way down into the river. There was nothing she could do. Once she got onto that slick mud, there was nothing she could do. I was trying to help her out. I was holding on to a tree, trying to hold her up, pull her out, but as soon as she started pulling and I got onto the mud, down I went as well. So we both ended up in the river.
Keith says though they now know it was a dangerous situation, it didn't feel that way in the moment.
Judy and I talked about this the next day. Neither of us ever had a thought of what danger we ourselves were in. It never crossed our mind. So it's just odd. When I show you some of the places we climbed up and down, I can barely walk because of my spinal issues. But during that time, I didn't feel any pain either. It was just get the mission done.
Keith and Judy were pulled out of the water right here behind me by the Eastern Douglas County Fire Department, and the other two were rescued downstream about 20 minutes later by the Highway Patrol.
That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. A set of quadruplets graduate from school together, but this time it's college.
And again, we've been dealing with that patchy fog this morning, but we do have a pretty decent Wednesday for us ahead of some rain chances on Friday. We'll take a look at that forecast when we come back. But first, here's another live look from Cunningham Park in Joplin. A family with quadruplets is celebrating graduating college all at the same time. Jeff Todd has their story.
They're like, wait, Molnar? Like, there's so many of you. Like, what's going on here?
For the past 22 and a half years, the Molnars have been close. So picking up their caps and gowns together wasn't out of the ordinary. We first met the quadruplets when they were just a few hours old in October of 2000.
My prayers have been answered 4 times over.
Growing up, they stayed close, even with their older brother Roman. in the back seat of a minivan or on a family vacation.
Did we pick on you a lot?
I don't think they did.
The Molnars homeschooled together, and then when it came time for college,
I loved it. I loved being with them.
they still stuck together.
You always had a best friend, like right with you, and so wherever you went, you had someone.
On Friday, all four graduated from Metro State University in Denver.
My name is Julia. I'm getting my degree in advanced manufacturing.
Luke, mechanical engineering.
Rachel, I'm getting my degree in integrative healthcare.
Abby, and my degree is in cybersecurity with a water studies certificate.
Academically rigorous degrees.
Being able to talk to them, stay excited about like projects and stuff has been really helpful.
They credit each other for getting through school.
It was really cool to gain such a well-rounded perspective.
Being able to really vulnerably go to them and say, hey, I'm really struggling in this aspect, or I'm struggling with school, or I'm struggling with picking up the shift at work. It's not just like phoning a friend and hoping they'll pick up. They're right there. They know you. They've known you your whole life. And so having that really secure foundation to fall back on has been the biggest help.
4 years ago, they flirted with the idea of breaking up, but MSU Denver gave them the best affordable option.
Graduating debt-free, which is what we're doing now, was one of the biggest factors that brought us here, along with great academics. We all have good jobs, great plans for the future.
Julia and Abby are identical twins, and both of them have jobs lined up with Lockheed Martin. Rachel is headed to grad school, while Luke is going to take some time to figure out his next step. But getting to graduation was something they wanted to achieve together.
That was a goal set by us and by our parents. It was how fast you want to start your life.
There's a big party in Morrison this weekend celebrating each of them. And as they embark on a new chapter, they say they're closer than ever.
That's absolutely incredible. Quadruplets all graduating at the same time, and also being able to stay so close together, because I know a lot of families start to drift apart as they get older, so it's great they've maintained those relationships. Well, we've still got patchy fog out there to deal with, and it will start to improve. In fact, latest check of the fog tracker shows some improvement, but still dealing with it across southwest Missouri and parts of southeast Kansas. We'll take another full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
In Joplin.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:40 on this Wednesday morning. Still dealing with some patchy fog out there across southwest Missouri and curving around into the northern parts of southeast Kansas. Visibility is again gradually improving, but we've also seen them suddenly drop off as well. And there's still some dense fog out there. So if you're traveling on I-49, 54, or parts of 69, make sure you're slowing down. Make sure you're watching out for that dense fog that's out there this morning. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good so far, and same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. But you can see a little bit of that haze from some light fog across the area. And as we look at our camera at 7th and range line, still a little bit of fog off in the distance. Otherwise, cloudy, 62. North breeze at 3 out there, but temperatures slowly starting to creep up across the area. 57 Nevada, 54 in Fort Scott, 58 Chanute, 62 in Independence, Parsons, Chatopa, 63 Miami, and 61 Neosho, Monette, and Carthage. As we get our morning started, again, that patchy fog could stick with us for a little bit. Under those mostly cloudy skies, that'll start to burn off, and then we'll become partly cloudy and warm to the mid-60s by late morning. We head into the afternoon. We got temperatures pushing the mid-70s across the area, partly cloudy skies. An isolated stray shower or two is possible across the area, but the majority of us are going to stay dry, and any showers that we see should be relatively short-lived. We're still going to continue to be partly cloudy, otherwise even mostly clear as we head into the overnight hours, but another chilly one for us as we drop back into the upper 50s yet again. We start trending warmer tomorrow, a little closer to 80, partly cloudy through the majority of our Thursday, and then some evening showers possible. And then Friday, starting just before sunrise and running into the early overnight hours, scattered thunderstorm chances throughout our Friday. So it's not all day rain, but it'll be continuous thunderstorms throughout the day. And a little cooler too, in the 70s. 70 again on Saturday, but partly cloudy. Look at Sunday, 75, warm, mostly sunny. And this is what I love. The weather is cooperating for this weekend. So whatever you need to do this weekend, you can do. It'll be clear. It will be warm. It will be nice. You can mow the lawn just in time for this. more of that much needed rain. Again, I know we need the rain. Some of our lawns don't necessarily need that rain at this point, but we have more thunderstorm chances every day next week. But on top of that, we've got temperatures warming back up. We're going to start crawling back into the lower to mid 80s as we head into the next work week as well. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Tanya Bach for a check of Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Americans seem to be scaling back on home improvement projects as higher interest rates and inflation take their toll. Home Depot reported sales for its latest quarter on Tuesday, and they were below expectations. Sales fell 4.5% at stores open at least a year. Home Depot's income decreased nearly 6.5% from the same period a year ago. The company has now lowered its sales expectations for 2023. And now expects sales to decline between 2% and 5% from last year. The company's stock fell 3.5% during pre-market trading on Tuesday. Telecom giant Vodafone said Tuesday it plans to slash 11,000 jobs over 3 years. It's part of a turnaround plan to revive the company following years of poor performance. Vodafone is a major provider of mobile networks in the United Kingdom, Germany, Spain, Italy, and parts of Africa. It has more than 100,000 employees worldwide. Job cuts would affect Vodafone's UK headquarters and operations in other countries. 2 decades ago, Vodafone was the world's biggest mobile telecom group, but in recent years, it has struggled to keep market share. Chances are you've heard the phrase Taco Tuesday, but did you know it's trademarked? Taco Bell is trying to change that. Rival Taco John's trademarked the phrase in 1989. Since then, the company has sent cease and desist letters to other restaurants who use it. And now Taco Bell is filing a petition with the Patent and Trademark Office. The restaurant chain argues no one should have exclusive rights to a common phrase. A trademark attorney says Taco Bell has a strong case because the phrase Taco Tuesday has become a cultural phenomenon. Trademark appeal process can take up to 2 years. Chrysler is recalling more than 130,000 of its 2014 through 2016 Jeep Cherokees due to a fire risk. The U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says an electrical issue in the power liftgate module could cause a fire regardless of if the vehicle is on or off. Citing the manufacturer, the NHTSA says a fix is being worked on. Agency recommends parking the vehicles outside and away from other vehicles until the problem is resolved. According to the NHTSA, the vehicles were previously recalled in 2015. However, even vehicles repaired in that or prior recalls will need the new fix. Tesla is trying something new. It's going to start advertising. Elon Musk told shareholders on Tuesday the electric car maker will advertise for the first time in its history. Musk told them the company will see how it goes. This isn't about face for Musk. The billionaire CEO suggested for years there was no need to advertise because he claimed demand for Teslas outweighed the supply. But the electric vehicle market has changed since Tesla first came on the scene. Other EV automakers are now competing with Tesla, and advertising has been proven to drive their sales. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. A scary scene at a youth baseball game over the weekend. A short-lived dust devil in Florida engulfed a young catcher.
Now, thankfully, a quick-thinking teen stepped in to help the boy to safety. Khalil Maycock has the story and the video.
A seemingly normal tournament on this baseball field quickly turned into something else.
That is cool right there.
Within seconds, the wind started picking up and a dust devil formed. It quickly engulfed 7-year-old Bauer Zoya.
I couldn't breathe that much, so I held my breath, and I feel like I couldn't touch the ground, so I kind of lifted up a little bit.
Even though Zoya was only in the dust devil for a few seconds, he says it felt like he was in there for 10 minutes.
And I was scared, and I got afraid if someone would pull me out.
The person who did end up coming to Zoya's rescue was 17-year-old Aiden Wiles, the umpire.
I was worried about his safety because when I got taught, like, the player's safety is always the first thing.
Wiles says although he was initially a little afraid, he knew it was best for him to put his fear aside. The Dust Devil happened in the second game of a 3-game tournament at Fort Caroline. Zoya says the dust didn't stop him from continuing to play. His dad poured water on him to get the dirt out of his eyes, and then he went back in the game. And he believes what he went through helped him play better.
I caught one, and it was so high, and my dad said up, and then I caught it.
And while Zoya is happy it helped him play better, his dad is just glad Wiles had quick thinking and stepped in to help his son.
I was a 16-year-old kid that just had the presence of mind just to do that, and it was pretty special to see. It was pretty cool to see yesterday. So good. He had obviously great parents raising that young man.
That's just incredible.
I've seen so many Dust Devils, but
Right.
I've never seen one like right on top of somebody.
Right, you usually see them out in fields and everything like that, and you don't really see them on top of folks, but in this case, boy, that was a pretty intense situation. That'd be scary regardless. I mean, that's a frightening thing to be caught up in.
Yeah, and you
Especially
just
with
kind of
all that
lose
dust.
you can't tell where anything is, and
Yeah, that's got to make
thank
you...
goodness for that umpire to pull
Yeah,
him
yeah, he
out.
stepped in and
Yeah.
and took charge of that Dust Devil and said, not today.
Well,
Not today,
unfortunately,
Dust
Zoya's
Devil.
team did not end up winning the tournament, though.
So but that's all right.
But he
Still
had a good
an
game. He had
experience
a good
for
game.
a lifetime, for sure. And of course, in this age, there's video to prove it.
I know, right?
That's pretty, it's still impressive. Well, we've still got some fog that we're contending with across the area. You can see visibility's slowly but surely improving in some areas, and they will continue to do so. But still, the areas we've been talking about, the I-49 corridor, 54, and parts of 69, you need to just be careful out there. Watch out for dense fog in some of those areas. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, we are looking good but cloudy. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. And from our camera at 7th and range line, we've got those cloudy skies. They will eventually go away and leave us with partly cloudy skies. We are sitting at 62 in Joplin, north breeze at 3 miles an hour. And across the area, even though there is that light north breeze, we're still starting to warm up slowly but surely. 54 in Fort Scott, 55 Iola, 58 Chanute, 63 Miami, 61 Neosho Carthage. So not a bad start. Chilly for this time of year, but not a bad start. As we get our morning underway, as we mentioned, we'll have that patchy fog to contend with, and it could hold on through about maybe 9, 10 o'clock this morning, so just, again, be wary out there. They'll have those mostly cloudy skies to contend with as well, and then they will give way to partly cloudy skies by late morning, temperatures warming into the mid-60s by late morning as well. And we could see a stray shower or two across the area today, but I think the majority of us are going to stay dry. We'll take another complete look at the forecast and the week ahead and have the news you need to know right after this.
Indigo Sky.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri in Joplin receives thousands of dollars in tax credits through a state program. The state of Missouri's Youth Opportunities Program awarded the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri $200,000 in tax credits. As part of National Infrastructure Week, Missouri American Water highlights its investments planned this year. The company will invest a total of $425 million into water and wastewater system upgrades. Officials say replacing aging pipes improves system reliability and improves fire protection. Miami, Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce looks to empower female entrepreneurs. The chamber hosted a Women in Business Connection luncheon featuring a presentation titled Closing the Generation Gap. It was a chance for female business leaders to network and to find common ground among entrepreneurs of varying ages. And one Southwest Missouri elementary school got a grant to improve the book selection at the school's library. Laura Bush Foundation for America's Libraries gave a grant of $5,000 to the Knoll Primary School. The school's librarian says the grant will allow them to diversify the library's shelves.
I don't know if anybody's noticed, but we've got some kicking new music there for News to Know. You got a really nice drum beat with that thing going on. I like it. Tim picks out all of our music. Tim, excellent job with that. Next time we'll just have to crank it and let it roll. That way you can groove with us at home. We are looking at a pretty decent day. We got the fog eventually burning off as we go through the morning, switching to partly cloudy skies. A couple of stray showers possible today, but the majority of us will be dry, partly cloudy, temperatures into the mid-70s as we head into this evening. Another chilly one, upper 50s for our low, but staying into partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. We're going to get closer to 80 tomorrow under partly cloudy skies, and then we'll see some thunderstorms throughout our Friday in the 70s. 70 on Saturday, but nice, beautiful weekend, 75 Sunday, and then we see warming temperatures, low to mid 80s next week, and thunderstorm chances every day next week as well.
All right, well, a gigantic marine reptile about twice the size of a killer whale lived about 152 million years ago.
That's according to a new study. It says the animal, called the plesiosaur, lived during the late Jurassic period. Study author David Martell, who came under criticism for inaccurate claims about the size of another plesiosaur in 1999, says he found large fossil specimens in a museum drawer.
Later learned the curator had 3 more in storage. The vertebrae were large with a maximum width almost 11 inches, height of about 9 inches, and 4 inches in length. Due to the size of the vertebrae, the researchers concluded they were closely related to plesiosaurs, or a similar but undescribed species.
My bigger question, what museum person is storing giant bones in their desk drawers? It's like, I can't find the guy this goes to. I'll just file it in here for now. Okay, well, at least, we're going to make more discoveries in file cabinets than we are by actually digging for fossils. We want to thank you so much for...
You never know where you're going to put it.
There could be fossils down here. We're going to be back today with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.